Yes, you guessed it, S2000. So people are going to say, why do you shoot so many S2000s? Well, so many S2000s come in the shop, and we'll just pick the camera up and show you what we're doing. So this customer is here for a clutch. He supplied his own parts. Let's see what he's got right here. He has the bearings, very good. Honda bearing. This is the Nachi bearing, by the way. People ask all the time, who makes the Nachi bearing? Nachi make it, but this is the one that Honda supply in their kit. If you buy it from Honda, you are getting this. That's awesome. I think he's been watching our videos. This is the slider. It's held on with a 3 bolt. The bearing slides on this. This is the clutch disc, the OEM disc, and this is the pressure plate. And looks like he has a flywheel too. Oh, that's heavy. That must be the flywheel. Very good. Let me open these. I'll show you what we got inside. Alright, so this is the flywheel. It looks like an AP2 flywheel, which is the heavy one. These are smoother, by the way. Again, just to answer a few questions, the AP1 flywheel is lighter and it does allow it to rev a little quicker, and it can help with your high-speed shifts, but it tends to rev up quicker and rev down quicker, so you get that shudder, and typically the idle valve isn't quick enough to catch it. So that's one of the reasons Honda changed it to a heavier flywheel, to smooth that out. And this is the OEM pressure plate. So let me address something real quick. We get asked, again, I'll make it sound like I'm like I got a question and answer thing going on. This is just typical PMs and DMs and messages that we get. Which is the best clutch? Well, you know, we push the ClutchMasters clutch for high performance cars, but in my opinion, the Honda clutch is the best clutch, period. It really is. This is the best stuff, period, hands down. But when you start upping the horsepower, this clutch doesn't hold up. And the alternative is a lot of the aftermarket clutches, they just give you a pressure plate that has massive clamping load, which means it's really, really hard to press the clutch down. It puts a lot of pressure on the hydraulic system, and that's how they're gaining their friction to hold more power. The ClutchMasters does it in a different way. It changes the fulcrum angle, so there is less pressure on the clutch, and on the hydraulic system it's easier to press, but you've got a good clamping load, and they're changing the disc material to work with their pressure plate. But if you're making over 300 horsepower, definitely go with the ClutchMasters clutch, but bolt-ons, you know, Nachi aspirated, go with the Honda clutch. It's the best, period. Alright, so somewhere I watched a YouTube video, camera's crooked, and there was a whole bunch of hammering and levering and greasy hands trying to get the transmission out. Just to show you how easy it is if you've done it before, or done it several times before. The transmission's already loose. I'm just going to go ahead and drop it.
I said, just watch it come down, talk about it, I got it.
Look at this.
Just tell everybody how easy
See how easy the transmission comes out? Just watch your hand between the...
You tell them, I'll show them.
Just let you know, we once got our hand between that and that. When I say once, actually a few times. So if you take all the bolts out properly in the right sequence and do it right, transmission comes out. There's no greasy fingerprints all over it. Nobody's losing any knuckles. Nobody's like bleeding. And hopefully the transmission doesn't fall on the floor.
You better show them with the camera, this thing here.
Yeah, you see this right here? So imagine your hand's on here and you're lowering it down, and this comes all the way down on your hand. So it locks your hand in there, and then you can't twist it because it's on your hand, and you can't reach this pump over here to pump it up because you can't tighten this. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a memorable time. It's not good, but it is memorable. We've both been there. Okay, so this piece here, hopefully, I don't want to take credit, but hopefully he watched our videos and saw this. But this piece here, this is what is awesome about the S2000 transmission, is this is designed to be replaced. This is steel, and it's like the friction part. It bolts on here. I don't know if you can see that. It actually is removable on the D series, B series, and H series. This is just aluminum, and it's cast in there. So when the bearing slides on here, and if it's been dry or somebody's replaced the bearing, didn't use the right grease, it'll actually cause this to wear and have a slot, especially because it's aluminum. Once the grease is off, it wears a slot, and it makes the bearing click over this. So in the middle of your clutch, you have this almost like a thump in the pedal. You can't do anything about it. You can get in here, I mean, we clean them, we hit them with Scotch-Brite, and we try and smooth out that hump. But the S2000, you change this. Okay, so this comes off with 3 bolts. It's super easy. This one doesn't look in bad shape, but you can see the different color. Well, over time, this actually it's got a bit of a step. It's not bad, but we get this where it's so bad it's got a step. It's actually worn through the steel, so we keep these in stock just for this kind of thing. That way, when it goes back together, because it's a fairly cheap part, but the amount of work it is to get all this apart to replace this is the most expensive part. So while you take something apart, replace everything in it. Don't shortchange it. Don't try and go cheap. Do everything at one go. Show you a little trick here, making your life easier, putting it back on. These dowels here, don't forget to reinstall these if they do come out. There's one in the transmission here, and this one has obviously stayed in the engine block. But don't forget those. It's critical to align the transmission. If you miss these off, the little bit of play that's in the bolt, the transmission can actually be, you know, like one side or another, and actually damage the shaft and the pilot bearing. We've seen this happen a lot. But one thing we do, put a little bit of grease in here, a little bit of grease on here. It will definitely make a difference. I'll show you when we put the transmission back on how it work. Actually, how much better it goes up. What do you have?
I have Star Wars.
Sweet. So much.
Yes, but you're going to have to really hold it because I'm kind of free.
Oh yeah, you're gonna flip it out. Yeah, this one, George's.
Yeah, the other one is
This one.
Oh yeah, now it's really gonna go. Wait.
Oh, you'll hold it.
Wait, no, stop! Stop. Okay, I got it now.
Shouldn't your waitressing job help with this?
Oh yeah, because I do that a lot.
You used to be a waitress.
Oh, totally.
Where?
Can I have your order?
That is service right there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
George, drinks here. So I'm gonna do a real time putting the transmission back. That way, if you see us rattling it and hammering it and getting all frustrated, you can see. But I want to show you how easy it goes back when everything is set right, everything's aligned, you've done the right procedure, and of course you've done at least, how many clutches have we done, George?
I don't even know anymore.
We don't even know anymore. So I'll show you hopefully how easy it goes back in.
I'd like to think it's close to 150 in the last 2 years.
Reach it?
Yeah.
Once we get it up in the hole, we'll break that strap. Get it to where it was. Yeah. Can you still watch it? Is it still recording?
Looks like it.
Yeah. At what point do we bring out the big hammer?
I don't know what that was, but it's scary.
That wasn't us. Ready?
Maybe it come down. That's what she said. I'm just letting you know someone else said that.
Pretty close.
I think it's just a little bit up and down deal. Okay, so it's not the gear, right?
Nope.
Yeah, we should probably put it in the gear beat.
I think we're reach it. Reach it.
Yeah, it's right there, but it's not going in. Let me get an extension. We'll put it here.
tricks. Put the transmission in gear, which we usually do before. Put it in there. Got it? Yep. There it is. Typically you put the transmission in gear by rotating the tail shaft. It changes the position of the splines. It helps it line up. So I'm going to put a bolt in before I take the hands away. You good? You're good. I'm going to put it in neutral again. The extension out. That's actually the dirtiest part of the whole job, is putting the extension in there and getting grease on it. So this dust boot right here, get that later. These are notorious for dry running. As you see, this part here is broken off and it gets like almost like plasticky. As you see, it breaks. And I should show these in the videos and more people will be ready to get these. Well, we keep them in stock. This is the part number if you want to order it from your local Honda dealership. But when these are in good shape, they're super pliable. You know, they're like, well, they're rubber. The idea is to keep the dust out, the water out, and it has some holes here to actually let temperature out and let the whole thing breathe. But it keeps the water from getting in that lever where the slave cylinder is attached, and the slave cylinder comes through here and the lever sits here. So we keep these in stock. That's the part number. Go ahead and order one if you're doing your clutch. It'll save you time, because when you put it back together, save you time taking it apart again. So this is the position of this dust cover, just so you can get an idea. It sits on the side of the transmission. This is the slave cylinder, and this is it. Basically, it's just keeping the dust and dirt out of there, and those vents are under here that I showed you. You can see my finger goes in there.
All right, we're gonna drain the transmission fluid, and like we always say, check this guy first. Make sure you can get that one out before you take this one out, because just in case, you wouldn't want to be stuck here with no fluid in your transmission. Looks fairly clear, which is always good. It's always a good sign. I don't know if I can get it to focus on the fluid itself, but it looks good. I've got the rear diff fluid ready to come out. I've already broke this loose. I pull it out by my thumb here. I always make sure the washer is on the bolt side, because if it stays on the diff and then you take the bolt out and then the washer falls out, then it's stuck in the fluid and you don't want to put your hands in the fluid to find that washer. Plus aluminum or copper, neither of them were magnetic. So you can't use a magnet to get it out like you could a bolt if you dropped a bolt in there. Once again, this fluid looks very nice. Whoever's got the car must be taking good care of it. That's very clear.
Alright, so it's back together. Go ahead and start it. We're going to take it for a short drive. When I say short drive, it's usually just in the parking lot. Just check engagement, make sure the clutch is okay. It's super smooth, super slick. So when we say test drive, it's usually just in this parking lot. We usually keep our drives very, very short. So there's a reason for that, and it's nothing scientific. We don't want to drive your car. The more time you're driving it, the better off you are. You don't need the shop to test drive it for you unless it's a drivability issue or like a street tune or verified an issue in the car. Driving a customer's car, more chance of something going wrong. This is the car coming back right now. And again, not trying to sound negative, but if we drive your car and a rock bumps up and hits a windshield, a dog runs out, another car comes out, gets into an altercation with your car, the best way to avoid that is to avoid it. Don't drive a customer's car. We don't drive them. We get asked all the time, hey, can you take my car for a drive, see what you think? We don't want to drive it. there's no reason for a shop to drive your car unless, again, they're chasing a problem. So hopefully this answers some questions, but if a shop is wanting to take your car for a 10-mile test drive, you might want to rethink about that test drive. Alright, so as you see, we have another S2000 on the lift. Keep us in mind if we can do something for you, if we can share our LHT TLC with you. LHT TLC is just showing you extra care, attention to your car, and treating your car like it's our own. We do a lot of S2000 clutches. We can offer you a ClutchMasters clutch installed, or we can ship one to you. And the S2000 OEM clutch we keep in stock. We can ship that directly to you as well. Hit us up at lhtsales@aol.com. I'm John, that's George, that's an S2000.